Hi guys, thank you for watching my channel. Today we are going to be talking about Neptune in the third house on this beautiful windy day in a Mercury retrograde. So we will see how it goes. Let's just say let the stars be with us. So what is Neptune? Neptune is our boundless self. It is selfless devotion. It is where we crave something and yet we can't quite seem to grasp it. It's where we transcend everyday reality through meditation, faith, love, sex, creativity, as well as drugs and alcohol. It is where we can deceive or be deceived. It is also where we may lack drive, as well as where we may be confused and lack direction. What is the third house? The third house is our immediate environment. It is our thoughts and communication, kind of like the intake and the outtake, as far as how we intake information, we process it, and then we communicate it to the people around us in our immediate environment. And this can include our siblings, our neighbors, our coworkers, people that we interact with on a daily basis. The third house also is our early schooling experiences. It's social media, as well as the news and writing. It is also how we view our immediate environment. Does it feel safe? Are we comfortable? It is the mundane and routine tasks within the day, as well as short distance trips. With Neptune coming to the house of the logical mind, you are someone where your practical mind wants to reach into the higher consciousness of life on a daily basis. And it's almost like your communication and your mind processes information and perceives information on more than one level. This can affect you in different ways. In one way, it's an amazing gift to have. It's almost like having a window into a different realm, or just having this amazing intuition coming into your logical mind and being able to communicate that or in some kind of way to the world around you, into your immediate environment. This is the third house. And on another hand, this could have affected you where your mind may have felt a little blurry and scattered, and some of the everyday tasks that you undertake may fall wayside, or you may be someone who might be slightly forgetful, where the details may be overlooked. This is definitely, in my opinion, a daydreamer aspect. This is where you may have in early education or childhood had trouble focusing on subjects or matters that do not directly fuel or stimulate your imagination. And when that happens, your mind may have tended to drift off into a more beautiful fantasy, or just a daydream where you were able to escape. Similar to a possible habit of daydreaming, you may have or struggle with a selective perception with the actual reality around you and the people who surround you, where it may, to you, you may gloss over real problems or maybe even toxic relationships, because in your mind, you're like, they're beautiful, they mean well. It's almost like you put people in your immediate surroundings or your siblings kind of on a pedestal in a way, and that could be something that you will need to become aware of over time if you haven't already. You can also be someone who really needs alone time to recharge and kind of spend that time alone, allowing your mind to really have time to process information and events, because it's almost like when you're in the real moment, like, at your house with your siblings or in general, it might be a little delayed, your actual processing of the real events that occurred, as well as how you perceived others around you. You may be someone who can be easily manipulated mentally because Neptune is so fluid and accepting and unconditional in a way that might affect you in a way where you don't even realize how it's affecting you until you have a moment to step away. And then at that time you may realize, okay, maybe I didn't like that so much, or I did like part of what they said, but this other part you didn't. In the moment, you may have a really hard time of being assertive, where you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, that's a cool idea, or yeah, interesting. You're more like, yeah, okay, cool, I totally get it. You're very flowing and accepting, and it's more about how you make that other person feel. Are they comfortable? And then you worry about your comfort later as far as intaking information and then communicating your own thoughts. You may be someone who loves and cherishes knowledge and information, especially knowledge and information about the unknown, about spirituality, about higher consciousness, or the mysteries of the universe. It probably feels like you can never consume enough information in regards to these subjects, and the truth is you probably can't, because it's like an unsatisfiable desire. Neptune in the third. As you grow with awareness and higher consciousness and are able to begin to balance your imagination or the daydreaming or the mind drifting, and realize that this is happening to you for a deeper reason than just to kind of stimulate your own imagination or to escape your immediate environment. Once you realize that this is a gift from the universe and you have the ability to communicate to those around you spirituality, a higher consciousness, a higher awareness, and you'll begin to be able to consciously share this information with those around you. With this placement, we see a lot of individuals that use it to communicate what's going on inside their mind through different avenues, such as painting, writing, poetry, music, photography, dance. All kinds of different avenues are available to you to play with, to really pick which ones are most comfortable to you. But the truth is, you just have to make sure that you're allowing others to come into your mind, and that you're allowing that creativity and your beautiful, vast imagination with Neptune here to come out of you and to share it in some way with those around you in a positive way. Neptune in the third. Growing up in elementary school, you may have struggled with shyness and feeling socially awkward. This could have manifested in a way where, you may have thought something and wanted to communicate that, but when you went to do that, the way you thought and felt and how you wanted to communicate that came out wrong. With Neptune here, it can create issues. Depending on how your Neptune is aspected, there could have been some communication issues, as well as, in extreme cases, mental issues as well. There can be, a dyslexia possibly, or if you could have really struggled with focus and paying attention. Growing up, you may have been in a situation where you needed to be more aware and sensitive to the needs of a sibling. There could have also been a situation or confusion around the separation or loss of a sibling. And because of this, there could be some lingering guilt within you. And this is something that you will need to be aware of and further dig down deeper if there's any additional healing needed in this area of your life. If you did not have siblings, you may have always longed or dreamed about having a brother or sister. You may have felt growing up that you did not fully belong within your immediate environment, and this could have made you feel displaced and awkward in some way. You are someone who could be extremely gifted and talented in teaching children, especially children with any kind of learning disabilities. You have a very intuitive and imaginative mind that can be very inspiring and rejuvenating for others. You are also gifted in your spiritual knowledge, having that Neptune window within your logical mind on a daily basis. Everything starts in the mind, right? Everything. This is where Neptune is for you. As long as you gain awareness and consciousness of that, you can learn to appreciate and use Neptune to not just your advantage, but to the advantage of those around you. I wanted to add one further thing. This is a placement that I have, Neptune in the 3rd, and I want to talk about this at the end and just kind of tell you my own experience. This is only my personal experience with Neptune in the 3rd, as Neptune in your mind affects you on a daily basis, and it has greatly affected my life. I remember growing up, I was definitely the space case of not just my house, probably the entire school. I was extremely spacey to the point where people would be talking to me right next to me, and sometimes I wouldn't hear them. I would just I would think and feel a certain way, and I would know how I thought and felt, but then when I tried to communicate it, it was very difficult. It's like I couldn't rely on myself I didn't know what was going to come out, basically. In college, I remember locking my keys in the car so many times. At that point, I also didn't trust that I was going to not lock my keys in my car, so I would just leave my window rolled down a bit, and I got like a clothes hanger, so I knew how to basically break into my car, and I always carried that in my purse. I definitely have had some spiritual experiences that I'm extremely grateful for. I am grateful for all of the challenges that I went through, because it's made me a stronger, more spiritual, and more compassionate person towards other people who deal with any kind of mental issue. I have my mind now, and I feel like my mind is clearer than ever. That has a lot to do with learning, leaning more into spirituality, meditation, reading, higher awareness, knowing what I know, and studying astrology. And it was such a great relief to see Neptune in my chart in the 3rd house and to start diving into that, and other placements that could add to this. And it was so healing and freeing. And this is why I'm sharing this with you, is because I just hope that you also find the same. And astrology is such an amazing tool to realize that none of us are alone, that we are all made up of the same ingredients in different places. It's like we're the same cookie made in like a million different ways. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it spoke to you. Please let me know what Neptune in the third has done for you. Oh, and mine is in Sagittarius, towards the end of Sagittarius. That's my placement. So let me know what sign your Neptune is in, if it's in the third house, if you can relate at all, or if you have any new experiences. I would love to hear about that. I hope that you have a good weekend, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.